Nobel Prize in Medicine, reveals cancer starves and your body heals with this. Our bodies possess an extraordinary internal system for cleansing and repair, a mechanism so profoundly powerful that if it were ever condensed into a pharmaceutical pill, it would undoubtedly rank among the most expensive and sought-after medicines globally. This inherent biological marvel is not a futuristic fantasy, but a present reality, constantly at work within us, although often dormant due to modern lifestyle patterns. It's a sophisticated system capable of orchestrating a remarkable symphony of healing and optimization. It significantly reduces systemic inflammation, bolsters our natural immune defenses, plays a crucial role in regulating insulin levels with astonishing precision, and simultaneously enhances the function of virtually every organ in the body. Beyond these immediate tangible benefits, this internal mechanism holds an even more profound potential. It can compel your entire organism to forge a metabolic environment that is inherently more efficient and robust in its capacity to resist and combat severe illnesses, including the formidable challenge of cancer, by addressing the very roots of the problem rather than just its symptoms. What truly astonishes about this system is its timeless nature. It is not a recent discovery, nor is it something that any pharmaceutical laboratory will ever be able to patent or monopolize. The reason for its unpatentable status is beautifully simple and universally applicable. Every single one of us is born equipped with this incredible capacity. Yet, despite its universal presence and immense power, very few people are taught or understand how to effectively activate this dormant, life-enhancing process. This incredible internal mechanism, which has been acknowledged by groundbreaking scientific research, is known as fasting. However, it's crucial to understand that we are not referring to just any form of fasting, but rather a properly executed and well-informed approach to this ancient practice. Today, we aim to demystify fasting, presenting a clear and simple explanation of what it genuinely entails, how you can harness its power to reduce inflammation throughout your body, and most importantly, how to activate the core process that underpins its most remarkable benefits, autophagy. The term autophagy literally translates to self-eating, and it describes an intricate cellular process of self-cleansing and recycling. This process is of such paramount importance to cellular health and longevity that it garnered the Nobel Prize in Medicine in 2016 for Japanese cell biologist Yoshinori Ohsumi, who meticulously elucidated its genetic and molecular mechanisms. We will delve into the fascinating details of autophagy shortly, exploring its critical role in rejuvenating your cells. Furthermore, we will guide you through the various types of fasting protocols, demonstrating how to implement them safely and sustainably, seamlessly integrating them into your everyday life without resorting to extreme or impractical measures. Before we proceed, it is absolutely essential to clarify a fundamental point, as there is a great deal of confusion surrounding this topic. Fasting, at its core, is not about experiencing hunger or depriving yourself. Quite the contrary, it is primarily an organizational strategy for your meal timings. It involves concentrating all your daily food intake into a significantly shorter eating window, thereby allowing your body extended periods without food. This extended period is precisely what enables the activation of those crucial internal processes that are typically suppressed or switched off when we are constantly eating and snacking throughout the day. Consider this practical example. Instead of consuming meals and snacks every 3 or 4 hours, from the moment you wake up until late at night, you would simply shift your eating pattern to consume all your food within a defined period, perhaps between midday and late afternoon. You are not necessarily reducing the total amount of food you consume. Rather, you are adjusting the timing of that consumption, eating the same quantity, but in a more strategic and ultimately healthier manner. In this restructured approach, your body still receives the necessary nutrients and calories, but it now benefits from dedicated, food-free hours, a precious window of time during which it can focus intensely on repair, deep internal cleansing, and the reduction of inflammation. It's vital to pay close attention here because a common misconception is that if you cease eating for a few hours, your body will enter a state of crisis, collapse, suffer from plummeting blood sugar, experience a weakened heart, a sluggish metabolism, or even begin to lose muscle mass. In reality, for the vast majority of individuals, the precise opposite occurs. When the body is given these regular periods of rest from digestion, it begins to operate with vastly improved efficiency, order, and intelligence, transforming its functional dynamics in a truly remarkable way. Let's examine precisely what unfolds within your body during the initial hours and days of a fasting period. During the first day of fasting, the most immediate and impactful change is the cessation of constant caloric intake. This triggers a natural sequence of events. Your body systematically empties its readily available glucose reserves, primarily those stored in the liver in the form of glycogen. As these glucose stores become depleted, a pivotal physiological shift occurs. Your insulin levels begin to significantly drop. For many individuals in our modern, constantly fed society, this reduction in insulin levels is something their bodies haven't experienced in years, if not decades. The significance of this insulin decline cannot be overstated, as it unleashes a cascade of profoundly beneficial effects across multiple bodily systems. Firstly, and crucially, your heart, which typically relies heavily on glucose for energy, starts to transition its primary fuel source to fat. This is an incredibly important adaptation, as fat provides a much more stable, sustained, and efficient form of energy compared to the volatile fluctuations associated with sugar. This shift explains why many individuals observe a noticeable decrease in their blood pressure, sometimes even from the very first day of fasting. This benefit extends even to hypertensive patients who often require multiple medications to manage their blood pressure, finding that their control significantly improves when incorporating fasting. It's truly remarkable to witness such a profound positive impact so quickly. Furthermore, a significant number of people will also report a distinct reduction in inflammation. They often describe feeling deflated or less bloated, experiencing a sensation of lightness, particularly in areas like the abdomen and legs. And this is where we begin to grasp the profound potential of fasting to not only slow the progression of, but also, in some contexts, to actively combat cancer at its foundational level. Consider this: when we eat frequently throughout the day, our insulin levels remain persistently elevated. Insulin, however, is not merely a hormone that regulates blood sugar. It is also a powerful anabolic hormone that signals to cells to grow, multiply, and accumulate energy. The fundamental problem arises when this growth and multiplication message is constantly activated and unchecked. Such perpetual signaling not only drastically increases the risk of developing conditions like diabetes and various heart diseases, but also inadvertently creates a much more fertile environment, a metabolic landscape where certain abnormal cells can thrive, proliferate, and over time, potentially transform into malignant tumors. In stark contrast, when we engage in fasting, insulin levels recede, effectively switching off that incessant growth and multiplication signal. The body transitions from a state of continuous, unchecked growth to an entirely different mode, a state dedicated to deep repair, meticulous cellular recycling, precise control, and restored metabolic equilibrium. All these profound changes begin to manifest as early as the first day of fasting. By the second day without caloric intake, your body will have largely exhausted its stored sugar reserves. At this juncture, the metabolism undergoes further optimization, refining its operations to function at its peak efficiency. This is the precise moment when your body begins to systematically tap into and burn its accumulated fat stores for energy. As fat breakdown intensifies, another crucial fuel source emerges: ketones. These powerful molecules provide a much cleaner and more efficient fuel for both the brain and the heart compared to glucose. Consequently, many individuals starting from this point report experiencing enhanced mental clarity, improved concentration, and a sustained surge in energy levels. And perhaps counterintuitively, they often find that they no longer feel significantly hungry. The body has adapted to its new, more efficient fuel source. After 2 days of fasting, the body is not suffering. Instead, it is ingeniously leveraging its internal resources in a far more efficient and sustainable manner. This metabolic shift profoundly improves blood sugar control and further intensifies the reduction of systemic inflammation, which is now widely recognized as a foundational driver for a vast array of chronic diseases, including the insidious progression of cancer. Now, as we approach the 3rd day of fasting and beyond, the most critical and transformative process of all emerges into full swing: autophagy. As mentioned, autophagy is a profound system of cellular self-cleansing and recycling, a kind of internal spring cleaning that reaches deep into the very fabric of your being. During autophagy, your body systematically begins to identify and eliminate old, damaged, and dysfunctional proteins, as well as structurally compromised cellular components and defective cells. This includes the remarkable capacity to target and remove those very cells that, if left unchecked, could potentially transform into malignant tumors later on. It's crucial to understand that this process is not one of destruction for destruction's sake. Rather, it is a highly intelligent and targeted process of deep renovation and regeneration. It represents an exquisitely effective internal cleansing mechanism, one that, unfortunately, rarely gets the chance to fully activate in our contemporary society, precisely because we are so consistently eating or snacking throughout the day. To put it another way, imagine your body as a bustling city that, for the first time in a very long while, is intentionally taking the time to thoroughly clean itself up, discarding what is no longer useful, repairing what is damaged, and generally optimizing its infrastructure. This analogy perfectly illustrates why we say that fasting does far more than simply burn fat. It fundamentally reorders your metabolism, significantly improves your body's energy utilization, lowers insulin levels, dramatically reduces inflammation throughout the body, and, most critically, cultivates an internal environment that is inherently much less hospitable and conducive to the development and progression of the most severe types of diseases. Internalize this idea, for it is profoundly key to understanding the full scope of fasting's benefits. While we've touched upon the profound changes that occur during more prolonged fasts spanning several days, the exceptionally good news is that you absolutely do not need to undertake such extended fasts to unlock and activate many of these extraordinary benefits. In fact, right now, we are going to explore practical strategies for how you can powerfully enhance autophagy and reap a significant portion of these beneficial effects through shorter, completely safe, and easily adaptable fasting protocols that seamlessly integrate into the demands of real life. Let's transition directly into practical application. The most widely practiced, extensively studied, and perhaps the easiest fasting method to adopt for beginners and seasoned practitioners alike is commonly known as the 16.8 intermittent fasting protocol. So what exactly does the 16.8 protocol entail? It's remarkably straightforward. The core principle involves consuming all your meals and caloric intake within a designated 8-hour window each day. Subsequently, you will then spend the remaining 16 hours of the day in a fasted state, abstaining from food. For example, you might choose to eat only between 12 House p.m. noon and 8 House p.m., or perhaps from 10 House a.m. to 6 House p.m. The flexibility is yours to decide which 8-hour eating window best harmonizes with your personal routine, work schedule, and social life. During the 16-hour fasting period, it is crucial to avoid all solid foods and any beverages that contain significant calories, sugar, or artificial sweeteners. However, and this is a critical point, you absolutely can and should consume water to maintain optimal hydration. Staying well hydrated is paramount, as it not only supports overall bodily functions, but also makes the fasting experience significantly more comfortable and effective. This structured approach provides your body with with ample, undisturbed time to effectively lower insulin levels and markedly improve its utilization of stored energy, thereby actively engaging its deeply restorative processes, including the all-important cellular cleanup mechanism of autophagy. Autophagy typically begins to activate and ramp up within the body between 14 to 16 hours into a fasted state, making the 16.8 protocol an ideal gateway to accessing these profound cellular benefits. Now, a crucially important piece of advice to ensure this practice is beneficial and entirely safe for you. Do not attempt to dive into this headfirst or with an abrupt, drastic change. If you are entirely new to fasting, it is highly recommended that you begin gradually, starting with a 12-hour fasting window for a few days or even a week. For instance, you could simply finish your dinner by 8 p.m. and then refrain from eating anything until 8 a.m. the following morning. In essence, you'll primarily be fasting while you sleep, making this an incredibly manageable and non-disruptive starting point. Once this 12-hour window feels effortlessly easy and natural for you, you can then progressively extend your fasting period to 14 hours. Only when this 14-hour period also feels comfortable and integrated into your routine should you then advance to the full 16 hours of fasting. Your body possesses an incredible capacity for adaptation, but it is always best to respect its natural pace and never force it into uncomfortable or extreme situations. The 16-8 intermittent fasting protocol is sufficiently flexible and beneficial that it can be safely practiced 2 to 3 times per week without any issues, allowing for regular activation of its health-promoting mechanisms without requiring daily adherence if that doesn't fit your lifestyle. And now we arrive at arguably the most critical section of this entire discussion, an area where absolute clarity and caution are paramount. Discerning who can safely engage in fasting, and equally important, who should absolutely avoid it or proceed only under strict medical supervision. This distinction is not merely a recommendation, but a vital safety guideline that we want to emphasize unequivocally. The 16-8 intermittent fasting protocol, when applied judiciously, is generally considered safe for the vast majority of healthy adults across all age groups and can indeed confer substantial metabolic benefits. However, it is imperative to understand that more prolonged fasts, those extending over several days, are decidedly not suitable for everyone and must never be undertaken without the direct and ongoing supervision of a qualified medical professional. Let's be very clear about who falls into the category of individuals who should strictly avoid prolonged fasts or any fasting regimen without explicit medical guidance. This includes individuals diagnosed with type 1 or type 2 diabetes, especially if they are currently using insulin or other glucose-lowering medications, known as hypoglycemic agents, as fasting could trigger dangerous fluctuations in blood sugar. Also, those with a history of eating disorders, such as anorexia nervosa or bulimia, should absolutely steer clear of fasting, as it can exacerbate existing unhealthy relationships with food and body image. Pregnant women and women who are breastfeeding also fall into this category, as their nutritional needs are significantly elevated to support both their health and the developing child or infant. Individuals who are already underweight or suffering from malnutrition should not fast, as it could further compromise their health and lead to severe nutrient deficiencies. Those with severe cardiac conditions or who have recently experienced a heart attack must avoid fasting, as it could place undue stress on a vulnerable cardiovascular system. Finally, individuals undergoing active treatment for cancer should generally abstain from fasting. Here, I must introduce an important caveat. While I will briefly touch upon how fasting might specifically be applied as a complementary strategy in certain cancer contexts later, for now, the general advice is to avoid fasting if you are actively being treated for cancer unless you have received explicit, detailed instructions and are under strict, continuous monitoring by your oncology team. In any of these aforementioned cases, attempting to fast without appropriate medical oversight diet can indeed be dangerous, potentially even leading to fatal outcomes. This is not intended to instill fear, but rather to underscore the critical importance of caution. Therefore, whenever you contemplate incorporating any form of fasting into your routine, especially if you are taking any continuous medications or have underlying health conditions, it is absolutely essential to consult with your physician first. Your doctor can assess your individual health profile and provide personalized guidance to ensure your safety and optimize potential benefits. Now let's address another critically important question. Is it permissible to consume anything during the fasting window without inadvertently breaking the fast? The unequivocal answer is yes. Moreover, not only can you consume certain liquids, but some of these choices can actually help to powerfully enhance autophagy, accelerate fat burning, and amplify all the other positive effects of fasting. The fundamental principle here is to limit yourself to liquids that contain no sugar, no artificial sweeteners, and no significant caloric content. The absolute bedrock of your fasting hydration strategy should be water. Maintaining thorough hydration is non-negotiable. Aim to consume between 2 to 3 liters of water per day. This copious water intake is crucial not only for physiological function, but also because it makes the fasting experience much more tolerable, significantly diminishing potential feelings of discomfort or malaise, and enabling your body to efficiently carry out its profound internal cleansing processes. Beyond water, there are several other beneficial beverages you can incorporate. Black coffee is an excellent choice, with 1 or 2 cups per day generally being acceptable, provided it is consumed strictly without sugar, milk, cream, or any other calorie-containing additions. The caffeine in black coffee is a remarkable natural compound that helps to stimulate your body to more effectively utilize fat as an energy source, and it has also been shown to stimulate the process of autophagy. Green tea offers similar advantages. 2 to 3 cups daily can provide a rich supply of polyphenols, powerful antioxidants with significant anti-inflammatory properties that complement and support all these beneficial metabolic processes occurring during fasting. During the fasting window, simple herbal infusions are also highly recommended. Again, the key is to ensure they are consumed without any added sugar. Chamomile, cinnamon, and ginger teas are excellent choices. These not only will not break your fast, but can also actively help to control feelings of hunger and contribute to reducing inflammation within the body. Some individuals also find benefit in consuming a turmeric infusion. For example, you can add half a teaspoon of turmeric powder to hot water, along with a tiny pinch of black pepper, which significantly enhances the absorption of curcumin, turmeric's active compound. This can be consumed once a day and is known for its potent anti-inflammatory effects. Another viable option is a small amount of freshly squeezed lemon juice, ensuring you strain out any pulp mixed into water. Similarly, a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar diluted in a glass of water can be beneficial in helping to manage hunger and stabilize blood sugar levels during your fast. These additions can transform your fasting experience, making it more comfortable and amplifying its profound health benefits. Now, just as it is paramount to understand how to fast correctly, it is equally, if not more, important to understand what to eat both before and after your fasting window. The immense benefits accrued from fasting for 16 hours or more can be abruptly halted and even entirely negated if you choose to break your fast with unhealthy choices such as pizza, hamburgers, highly ultra-processed foods, or a surge of sugary snacks. Such choices will dramatically reverse all the positive metabolic shifts and cleansing processes that your body has meticulously undertaken. The optimal strategy, therefore, is to transition into and out of your fasting period with nutrient-dense, real foods. This means focusing on a diet rich in vibrant vegetables, high-quality lean proteins, such as Greek yogurt paired with antioxidant-rich blueberries, or lean meats and poultry, and an abundance of healthy fats like extra virgin olive oil, creamy avocado, eggs, and fatty fish, such as salmon. When you intentionally combine your fasting practice with a foundational commitment to good nutrition, both leading up to and following your fasting periods, the fasting itself becomes exponentially more effective and transformative. Otherwise, without this crucial nutritional synergy, fasting simply devolves into an isolated pause between otherwise poor dietary decisions, failing to unlock its full potential for sustained health improvement. We've purposely saved some of the most compelling information for the conclusion of this video, focusing on an area of profound importance. I want to speak to you with absolute clarity and directness, particularly if you or someone very close to you is currently navigating the challenging journey of a cancer diagnosis. Today, there is emerging scientific evidence, though still considered preliminary and limited in its scope, that strongly suggests that carefully controlled intermittent fasting could serve as a valuable complementary strategy during certain oncological treatments. It is absolutely crucial to state up front that we are not, under any circumstances, suggesting that fasting is a cure for cancer, nor that it should ever replace established life-saving therapies such as chemotherapy or radiotherapy. Rather, what the current research points to is the potential for fasting to act as an excellent complementary tool, working in synergy with conventional treatments to improve patient outcomes and quality of life. So, what exactly has been observed in various scientific studies conducted to date? Researchers have noted that cancer patients undergoing chemotherapy who also engaged in short-term fasting protocols or who followed diets specifically designed to mimic the physiological effects of fasting often experienced fewer adverse side effects. This translates to a significant reduction in common complaints such as nausea, debilitating fatigue, and general malaise. Furthermore, these patients frequently demonstrated improved tolerance to their prescribed cancer treatments, potentially allowing for more consistent and effective delivery of therapies. The proposed mechanism behind these observed benefits is truly insightful. It is hypothesized that during a period of fasting, healthy cells in the body enter a protective or rest and repair mode, essentially becoming more resilient to the cytotoxic effects of chemotherapy. In stark contrast, cancer cells, which are typically highly metabolically active and often heavily reliant on a constant supply of sugar, glucose, and elevated insulin signaling for their aggressive growth and survival, become more vulnerable and susceptible when these vital resources are temporarily withheld. This metabolic vulnerability makes them potentially more responsive to the targeted assault of cancer treatments. Consequently, intermittent fasting is currently being rigorously studied as a promising strategy to potentially enhance patient survival rates and to help prevent the recurrence of cancer. However, and this cannot be overstated, here comes the most critically important part of this discussion. Fasting is definitively not suitable for all cancer patients. A significant number of individuals battling cancer are already at a heightened risk of experiencing unintended weight loss, critical muscle wasting, cachexia, and a profound reduction in overall strength and physical resilience. In these specific and vulnerable scenarios, attempting to fast without meticulous and continuous medical oversight can be profoundly dangerous. Such uncontrolled fasting could severely worsen existing malnutrition, induce extreme weakness, lead to episodes of dizziness, and significantly impede or delay the patient's recovery process. This is why I want to be exceptionally emphatic on this point. Intermittent fasting or any form of dietary restriction related to cancer should never be undertaken independently or on one's own initiative during an active cancer diagnosis or treatment. It is not a do-it-yourself endeavor. In these complex and delicate cases, prudence and extreme caution are absolutely essential. Any consideration of incorporating fasting as a complementary therapy must originate from and be meticulously managed by a highly experienced and knowledgeable medical team working in concert with the patient's specific diagnosis, treatment plan, and overall health status. Your health and safety are paramount.